Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye, bye. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking, and I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you. I want to first and foremost say everybody that turned up to the lives, man, this weekend for my birthday weekend, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Sincerely, man. I'm very humbled to have your support, to have your continued support throughout these years, man. It's been 5 years strong. You're sticking with the channel. You're sticking with me. Thank you, right? So let's talk Swifty Blue, right? Since everyone else is. Swifty, man. The Swifty picker-upper, right? Woo! I see the last guy that was wanted in connection with the indictment, man, of the 19 guys that were alleged to have conspired to do something to Swifty, which I do not believe, right? We're going to get to that. Has turned himself in. You know, I seen a clip on Instagram of him turning himself in. And that's what you do. You put yourself in a position to lawyer up, to get your bread right, to go stand 10 toes down in what you believe, and to beat these ridiculous charges. And I do really believe that they're ridiculous. I really believe there's a lot of content creators out there stirring up controversy and making this worse than it already is for the 19 individuals that are facing the alleged charges. And I say alleged with the capital A, right? And also for Swifty Blue. It's a bad situation. It's so bad that yesterday I happened to stumble upon some content and Swifty Blue was crashing the fuck out. He was going buck wild. He was upset because now there's a lot of people calling him a rata. They're calling him a snitch, an informant. They're labeling this guy like he did something wrong, like he has bad papeles, like he has bad paperwork, right? Like Swifty done told on everyone and got this whole thing started. Now his mouth might have got something started, but as far as him speaking on these individuals or bringing this indictment upon their lap, no, he didn't do that. I don't think he was doing lap dances. I honestly, truly believe that Swifty Blue is innocent of saying anything, but people, trolls, haters, people that just want to stir up controversy and talk and don't even understand the true nature of this situation and how real it can get now, not before, but now, are continuing to bullshit, right? And Swifty Blue was crashing out on live, and he was screaming at the top of his lungs in typical Swifty Blue fashion, right? Which is one of the reasons why he was in any type of situation in the first place. He was screaming out, man, I'll give you 10,000, 20,000 if you could show me my name on bad paperwork, right? Now, he was truly dedicated to that motherfucking stance, meaning that he truly understands and knows that he's not on no bad paperwork. Now, that doesn't mean people are not going to continue to run their fucking dick suckers to bump baking soda breath on their door. There's a lot of cell soldiers and people that tend to stir up the bullshit because they know it's going to lead to exactly what it led to, Swifty Blue crashing out. Now, in this situation, what Swifty needs to honestly do, if he knows he's not in the wrong and he didn't do anything and that this is all taken out of context, right? Which I believe the LA Times article, the USA Today, I mean, everyone's done an article on it now. It's hot news, right? I believe it was really taken out of context. I believe, honestly, that Swifty Blue was in trouble to the degree of a chequeada, a DP, which happens quite frequently in the LA area, right? When you're from a neighborhood, when you're gangbang, I don't care if you're a rapper, a semi-successful rapper, I don't care if you're an actor, a comedian, whatever you are. If you're representing a barrio, north or south, if you're proclaiming, hey, your stance, this is what I stand for, my flag is planted, I represent Sud Gang or Norte Gang or whatever you represent, then you got to understand that comes with dire consequences. There's a certain way that you should present yourself at all times. It's called class. You got to have class. You got to play that position like the position is supposed to be played. You can't be a tight end if you got a loose mouth. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't be a lightweight affiliate. You can't be talking about you're the face of LA or you're the face of this or that, or check in with you and at the same time not stand on that. Now, I've never known Swifty Blue and I've never seen him to not stand on what he says. Is there going to be situations that make him look bad, like getting slapped at a concert? Is there going to be situations like getting hit in the head with a Sprite bottle? Is there going to be situations like running up on some youngsters, man, at a gas station? Yeah, there's going to be those. When everyone hates you or hates on you, there's going to be them situations. It's how you bounce back, how you dust yourself off and try again. Definitely, right? When it comes to Swifty Blue, there's a lot of people that hate him. You know, there's content creators on YouTube and all throughout social media that hate on that man consistently. They make money off hating on that man. Now, this is a very tricky situation. This is real life. When you are on the FBI indictment type things going on, when you got LA Times writing articles on you, it's going to shed light on a lot of things that was going on behind the scenes. Now, if you know, you know. Okay, I've said this to youngsters, a lot of youngsters that don't understand the game. Let me give them some knowledge they can't get in college, right? When you gangbang, when you get jumped in, or to what degree of put on you get put on, right? When you get involved, there's levels to this. Okay, when you're on ground level, you're just getting acclimated to what the gang is all about. You're seeing all the Zuzus and the Wham Whams. You're seeing all the bright lights and the bitches, homie. You're seeing all the fun stuff until you start to ingrain yourself into what a gang really is. And then you start to understand, man, that what's going on in prison and what's going on a political level does affect your barrio, your hood, right? There's going to be dudes that are from different areas that are going to have some dictation over your program. And if you are not the type to let another man dictate your program, if you are not the type to like to listen to anyone, and most gang members aren't, that's the reason why they involve themselves in the gang. They don't want to listen to their moms and dads at home. They ain't trying to put up with the bullshit. They got to go out in the streets and live for themselves and figure it out. And instead, in doing so, they get involved in a gang or a barrio, or they're born into it from a parent, right? Which is a whole different level, because that's education before you were even born. But they get brought into this without a true understanding of how one day to the next, everything could change. You know, especially if you're proclaiming to be something that you really don't know the history behind. Okay, that's like dudes running around right now talking about sureño. I trip out on it, right? I'm from up north, but when I hear them say that word, I am of understanding there's a difference between the South Sider and the sureño. And those that need to know and the reasonings why, refer to a different channel, because I'm not going to give up that ghost, right? That's not for me to speak on and give up that game, but there is a difference. And there's vatos right now, real sureños right now, like, that's right, that's it, tell them, that's it, right? Even though they don't like me, they'll still tell you that I'm right. Now, with Swifty Blue, he did let that come out of his mouth a few times, and I knew him not to be that. And I could understand why people were saying, hey, if you're a sureño or whatever, you got to carry yourself to a certain level, a certain way. It's understandable. That's absolutely true. Same thing goes with the norteño cause. You have to carry yourself when you're in a certain position, a certain way. You might not want to do it, but hey, it's got to be done. Now, when you first start gangbanging, you need to understand that at the end of the day, there's going to be people above you, people with status, people on a different level, people that have put it in work or in that position to tell you exactly what the fuck it is you're going to do. And that's just that, right? Now, this whole thing with Swifty Blue, I truly believe is bullshit. I don't believe there was a plot or that motherfuckers wanted to get him, because we're talking about 2-3 years ago. This alleged incident happened in the LA County Jail. So you're trying to tell me that Swifty Blue, all up in videos, all up in performances, all up in his neighborhood, all up with the paleta man, all up in the county jails, courtrooms, all this, that no one was going to touch him after all this was supposedly alleged to be plotted on? That's not the way it works. Okay, I've been around long enough to tell you guys, if vatos wanted to get at him in a certain fashion, he'd have been gotten at a long time ago. Period. Vatos ain't wasting their time looking and plotting and doing all that. It ain't no mystery. If they were really doing it, he'd be history. And that's a fact, right? So for me to believe that a jailhouse snitch came forward and came up with this whole twisted plot and involved 19 men that are now pulled away from their families, that are not now, caught up in this RICO, this FBI RICO. It's a cold-blooded situation because, and this is why I tell people, you got to watch who you fuck with, who you hang around with, and who you talk to on social media and all that. because they're alleging that social media played a part into this, saying that people were trying to find Swifty's whereabouts behind social media and utilizing social media to do it. Well, it ain't hard, man. It ain't hard when this Vato's going live. It ain't hard when this Vato's letting you know he's at In-N-Out Burger trying to get in and out fast. Okay, there was a situation when Swifty was in question. Not saying he was out bad with his neighborhood or out bad with his organization or the group. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying there was a situation where he was situated up out of state for a minute because himself was skeptical and not sure what his status were or where he stood. Now, I know the backstory, the ins and outs of why people were tripping on him, but that's not for me to tell, right? But one thing I will say about Swifty is he was able to converse with who he needed to and bubble back, because we've seen him after all this. And a lot of people ain't speaking on this, but this is the truth. After this alleged incident in county jail when he got poked on, they're saying, right? I seen him in a car with Chito Ranas trying to reconcile. Man, I thought the two fat dudes were together again. I thought the fat boys are back. I thought they were back, right? And then they had another falling out. And then, of course, Swifty felt comfortable enough to come out with all these diss songs towards the Southern California rappers that he disrespected. And we knew because of the fucking Trash Bag Boys podcast that he was doing nothing more than sparking a flame, rapping, just trying to get shit started, not instigating nothing, but trying to make music, right? And I'm not going to lie, he did his thing. There's no denying his lyrical spirit. There's no denying his smooth ass groove. And there's no denying Swifty gun. I was about to say Swifty gunplay. Lefty better watch out, right? We'll talk about that later, right? But anyways, Swifty Blue, there's no denying his talent. He's a good rapper. He's actually one of the better rappers from Southern California that I heard. But again, I don't play that North and South shit. I just say rapper. He's a good rapper that happens to live down South, allegedly, right? It could be anywhere now. But I see, there's a lot of people that are trying to confuse the situation and making it worse for Swifty. And he's crashing out. He's all on the internet screaming, prove I'm bad, and to me, that's funny. So many dudes, they'll go to their grave trying to prove how cool they are. So that way other people don't talk shit. Look at, hey, bro, pensa. But other people are going to say what they want to say at all times. You can't look at when a man has it in his heart to dislike you, he's going to dislike you. And there's nothing you can do to discredit or change that. You can't. I've tried it. It don't work, right? See, when I gangbanged, when I was involved at a certain level, my whole mentality wasn't never trying to prove to others how gangster or how hard I was. That's never been me. I've never tried to prove myself to anyone because I felt that was beneath me. I was laced up and educated enough to understand you don't go around doing pegadas or doing moves or making power moves wearing shower shoes because you're trying to prove yourself to the gente or the cause. I was always in a fucking race trying to prove myself to myself. Because at the end of the day, I had to look in the mirror and I had to have that understanding and know what I did out of my own merit, preferably alone, so I couldn't get told on. I had to do what I had to do, like I said, not to prove to the next man from Sanjo or Salas or Merced or Modesto or whatever homeboy that was fucking having the keys at that particular yard or time that I was hard. I was in a race with myself. Every time I did something, I had to not take it up a notch until eventually there was no more notches to make. And I said, I'm cool. I am cool. I am not, it's not gaining nothing. I'm losing. I'm losing time. I'm losing family. I'm losing friends. I'm losing old ladies. I'm losing sangre. I'm losing my mentality. I'm losing everything. But that's just me. I don't spit poison. I'm not trying to tell you how your program will be based off of mine. I'm just telling you how mine was based off of life. Facts, right? With Swifty, he's a youngster. He's a kid. He don't know no better. And obviously, even though he has some solid homeboys from his neighborhood, and I could see that, I don't think he was laced up enough or was seeking the education that he needed to seek to really get gamed up. He was really game goofy. Really, really game goofy. But just because he's a game goofy individual, he's still a youngster, man, and he should be brought up by his shoulder straps, not pushed down by his head, right? He should not be under this much ridicule and anguish and people spitting this much venom at him because they think they know what time it is, when a lot of people that are talking this shit about him don't know what time it is. And that's why you have him crashing out. That's why you have him on live screaming, I give you $10,000 if you could prove I'm on paperwork. I'll fuck around and AI some shit. Shoot me that 10 right now. Look, at the end of the day, Swifty Blue's going to see all right, cuz. This indictment is fluff. It's fluffy, okay? It's just something that some rat fucking a federal jailhouse informant utilized to make something happen. And because it was Swifty Blue, and because right now the whole thing is trying to fucking bring the Brown down. I noticed that now. I'll be doing a video tomorrow about how I'm starting to realize and recognize that everyone's against us, it seems like, right? And I'm not just fucking making shit up. It seems like the Brown man, this is a point in time in our life where it seems like, man, it's all bad to be brown, but it feels good though, right? Always. So with that being said, man, I did see that Swifty Blue crashed out, and he needs to keep his chin and his head up, because people are going to talk. People are going to put him in a bind, in a bad situation, and they don't understand. This can make it worse for the youngster. This can make it worse for him by people speaking on something they don't even know about. If this was, and let's just say, for instance, if this was an actual plot to get him up off the map, right? People shouldn't be speaking on it because it's way above mine and their pay grade. For reals, man. How it's crazy how loosely people throw that organization from Southern California around. They use the name of that organization, right? So loosely. Back in the days, it was never spoken on. It was very quiet, very clandestine. You just didn't say it. Everyone knew it existed to some degree, but they didn't know. They knew enough not to say shit. Nowadays, motherfuckers are brave, or they're loose-lipped, or they don't care that they utilize it in their title. Oh, this, that. And I'm going to give you guys some real knowledge, man. This goes for North and South, homie. This is something that nobody should be speaking on, as far as if them Vatos were involved at any level, whether you know it's facts or you could disprove it. You notice I don't use their name in my title. It's not that serious to get views. I'm not that thirsty. I know what time it is. I did time around some of these individuals. I got nothing but respect. Why? I know the dangers and the element of type of individuals I was dealing with in them tears in the fucking oil. But at the same time, I understand them Vatos ain't fucking with you if you don't fuck with them. You stay up out their way, homie, they won't have to run you over. And that's a fact, okay? When you're running around as a young content creator, or as a northerner, as a southerner, as a gang member, as a rapper, as anything, and you are wearing a red rag or a blue rag or a 13 or a 14, you got to understand, man, in so many words, that shit is copyrighted, bro. That shit ain't free. You can't run around speaking on something that you don't own. That's like Vatos talking about, man, I'm from my Vato, my neighborhood. This is all us. That ain't all you. That's the government's, bro. You just live there, homie. Governmentally assisted. So you can't talk about, man, I'm balling on EBT. It just doesn't work that way, right? So anyways, with that being said, I hope you guys could read between the lines. Swifty Blue did crash out. Now, the last guy, I think his last name was Ewan or something, man. He was actually turned himself in yesterday. And according to him, man, these are frivolous charges. This is something his name was brought up in, and he got caught up after. He said he's going to function. He's going to do his thing. He's going to go in righteously and turn himself in. I believe that's a good move. And I believe he's making the right path for himself. You know, it only helps him. And I believe these 19 guys will be freed. I don't believe that they're going to get stuck on this, because I don't believe it to be true. I don't believe there was ever a plot to, like I said, get rid of Swifty. Knowing what I know and being around these type of guys, he would not lasted 3 minutes, let alone 3 years. Now, as far as the people that continue to go on Swifty, leave that cat alone, man. You guys are making it worse for him. He's over there trying to make music and stay out the way and play tough guy, right? And people are making it hard for him to play tough guy. They're making it hard for him to be a successful rapper, which he is very talented and needs to keep continuing to be very talented, right? What I suggest is stay out the way. Let the shit die down, simmer down, man. Let someone talk about something else. Because all these people making content, discussing, you know, oh, man, it's all Swifty's fault. It's all Swifty. Hey, Swifty, he didn't tell the cops to snap cuffs on no one. It's not like he went in there and reported it or something. That is not what's being reported in the LA Times, that Swifty went over there and said, they're trying to get me. He didn't say that. This is something some jailhouse snitch said, man. You know, if you guys take that word, then I don't know what you heard. But I'm able to decipher things. And knowing what I know, having been locked up and been in the mix for various years, a lot of years, decades, right? I could tell you, man, ain't nothing new. I seen hella homies get indicted right behind some fucking dude lying on them. And that's what I think this is. I think Swifty ducked a DP and got scratched on in the county jail. And I could tell you right now, one reason why how I know this wasn't for reals, right? And the one thing I can say is this: if shooters got at Swifty in LA County and failed, why are we talking about them in a box? Because the way I was laced up, north and south, if shooters get at someone and they fail the mission, their mission has failed. Ask yourself that, right? Before people jump to conclusion and disrespect Swifty and get to fucking saying, oh, these guys were doing this and they were doing that without really having the facts and knowing what time it is. You know, I seen one content creator, he knows all the facts. He has all the inside information, no hate, but goddamn, homie, can you keep something to yourself? Or can you at least not be a thirsty ass vato looking for views that you have to tell everyone, see, I was right, when you know you're fucking wrong. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Now, I'm not making this content to justify anyone's actions. Hey, if Swifty found himself on the wrong side of the knife, well, that's on him, right? What that Vato Lucky from the media thing say? He said, better him than me. I don't think like that, man. Shout out to that Vato. He's a good, solid old school, right? And I get where he's coming from. Better him than me. My thing is better no one, man. Better no one. The gun. Bang, bang.